Again, the book is called You Must Set Forth at Dawn. It's by Wole Soyinka. Meeting Ojukwu face to face, I tried unsuccessfully to remind myself that I was now facing His Excellency Lieutenant Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu, head of an independent state, not the young Emeka whom I had known in Yaba, Lagos in the early 50s. Then I had been laying siege to the heart of the younger sister of his own object of attention. What he's saying basically is that Ojukwu liked the girl, Soyinka liked the younger sister of that girl. Envying the jazzy sports car that brought him to his tribe while I pedaled to battle on my bicycle. He was heavily bearded and already balding from the forehead, self-conscious of his new status to the point of intended self-parody, especially when taken with his exaggerated upper-class British accent. But his delight at my visit was genuine enough. I outlined my mission. I was there to persuade him to call a halt to the firing from his side, while one more effort was made to resolve the conflict between the federal government and his now seceded state. The sticky point, however, was that this would require placing a hold on the secession. Ojukwu reiterated his charges against the federal side and painted for me the mood of his people. It was the people themselves, not he, who had pressed for secession. Is a lie. No one, he insisted, could have withstood the tide of that resentful outpouring. It was a plausible case, but one that I found difficult to swallow entire. Ojukwu himself had played a role in manipulating emotions. I joined in his mid-morning snack, watched him daintily pick akara balls from a silver salver served by a waiter in immaculate white uniform, complete with white gloves. It all seemed rather incongruous, impossible not to feel that one was watching an act. The exchange was anything but staged, however. We were after all engaged in an exchange of life and death, not merely of human beings, but of his dream of Biafra. He would not commit himself. Instead, he insisted that I speak first to a few civilian leaders, some of whom I did meet later on. In turn, I requested to speak with Major Adewale Ademoyiga, an officer from the West, who had been imprisoned for his role in the January 15 coup and transferred to Enugu prisons. That transfer saved his life. When the counter-coup had taken place in July that year, the plotters had invaded prisons under federal control, abducted the officers, and subjected them to cruel forms of death. Ademoyiga, however, lived to write of his role in the January 15 coup in why we struck. Most faithful of all my meetings in the seceded enclave was that with Victor Banjo, a Yoruba officer. Following some convoluted chain of events, Victor Banjo had been accused of menacing the former head of state, General Aguiyi-Ironsi, and had ended up in Enugu prisons. After the Declaration of Independence, he was released by Ojukwu. There's a reason I want to use one bird to kill two. I want to use one stone to kill two birds. After the declaration of Biafran independence, he was released by Ojukwu, as were other Yoruba officers and soldiers from the western region, some of whom had certainly been involved in the original January 1966 coup. Tomorrow I'm going to explain how they were involved, and I think we should stay on that for a bit. How the Yoruba people got involved in the coup. We're going to talk about that. Now, I need to make a point. This man, Ojukwu, did not release Banjo until after the declaration of Biafra. When was this? May 30, 1967. So the earliest time would be May 30 or 31st or maybe June, but most likely May 30. Now, think about that for a second and then ask if it makes any sense for a sensible human being to think that Ojukwu could have released Papa in August of 66. That is 8 months before he declared Biafra. This is how you know that Nalailai plenty pass from the southeast as far as history is concerned. But if you want to believe it,